Okay, I'm going to get started. This one is going to be, I'm going to kind of be no nonsense. I got to get through 3 rates. I'm going to model 6 times, 3 rates, 3 times in Metrix, 3 times in Option C. And I'm going to describe a few rate concepts for some of you who are, let's say, new to utility rates or kind of learning still. So I'm going to get right to it. Let's see. Okay, so first off, we've got 2 programs that we're basically transitioning from Metrix to Option C. A lot of you are using Metrix still, and a lot of you are using Option C. And I wanted to show, how to model the rates. So we're going to do both. The rate engines are similar, but they're different, and you'll see that when we go into them. When I'm in advanced class, what I do is I give you pictures of all the different fields, and you write notes. This means this. This means this. We're not going to do that. It takes too much time. I'm just going to model the rates. These are the 3 rates: PG&E A1, E19, and Duke South Carolina SGS. So easy, moderate, and hard. And let's get right at it. So this is the PG&E one. It's really easy. Look, I just got a customer charge. So it's, I'm just going to take the first one there. And then 2 energy charges. I don't even have a demand charge. So I'm going to get right to it. And we'll start with Metrix. So what I have here is a file with a lot of bill data in it. And I guess I have power. I don't need that there. And I'm going to model it, I suppose. So what we do is, first thing that's super important in Metrix is, if you're going to use utility rates, you need to have this say single utility rate schedule. Okay, so I'm in the meter setup. You've got to do that. If you don't, the default is average cost. And if you don't, it's just going to ignore the rate you put in there. So you've got to tell it to use the single utility rate schedule. Okay, then I will add a new rate. And I'll call it PG&E A1. And I know it's in metric. Sorry about that, SI units. Okay, so I have a customer charge and energy charges. Well, I'll put my energy charge right here. So this is kilowatt hours. So that's in the charges item. And it's for all year. So I leave those there. It's not summer, winter. And this is consumption. So that's kilowatt hours. And it's, okay, we don't have time of use here, but on peak, if you don't have time of use, it just assumes that everything is on peak. So there is no non-TOU selection. You just say on peak. Okay, so this is where my daily charges can go. So here I have a daily charge of 32 cents, 0.32854. And then I have a summer, this is summer winter, I screwed this up. So I happen to know PG&E's summer winter, it's May 1st to 10/31st is summer. So I'll call this one summer. So I totally screwed it up already. Okay, summer. And so the summer charge is going to be 28607. 0.28607. Okay, 28 cents a kilowatt hour. All right, and then I'm going to also add a winter charge. So I'll drag this up and I'll just make some changes to it, and I'll call this winter. And this will be 11/1 to 4/30. A lot of times in class, people have asked, does it wrap? It does wrap, so I don't have to put it in twice, 11/1 to 12/31 and 1/1 to 4/30. I just put in this and it knows what to do. I will put in the daily charge is the same, but this charge, the dollars per kilowatt hour charge changes, and it is 2290. Okay, that's it. Now, if I want to see how this calculated everything, we could go to the SimActual tab. Okay, and here I can see my miscellaneous charge. That was my 32. Let's say it's 33 cents a day, right? So if you had 30 days times 33 cents, that's about $10. Yeah, that sounds about right. So this changes, I mean, this varies 11, 9, 10 based on the number of days in the bill. If I wanted to find an easy one, I didn't think there were any easy ones in here. Oh, I think there's one at the top. Here, this one is close to 3 million. So 3 times, this is summer. So 3 times 30 cents a kilowatt hour is 900,000, but I'm 2 cents short, and I'm 100,000 short. So it's 835. It's close. I'm not going to use a calculator to show it's right, but I'm pretty sure. Not pretty sure. I'm awfully sure that this is right. Okay, so that's that. Let's try it with option C now. Okay, same rate. And what I'm going to do, so this has got a totally different rates interface. You click on this project button and you select rate groups. Okay, and so then what I want is I'm going to add, I'm right clicking here, I'm going to add a new rate group. And this rate group is going to be for PG&E A1. The reason why we have a rate group is because we might, the rate might change every year or every 2 years, and you just keep adding new rates to that rate group, and then you assign a meter to that rate group. So then when the utility rates change, you just make the change once here, and then the meters will take care of the rest. So that's the whole point. All right, so that's what I've got. I'm going to add a rate, and I'll call that A1. And so there's 2 different types of rates. There's simple and there's hard or complicated. I could almost do this simple, but I can't because I have a daily charge, not a monthly charge. If I just had a monthly charge, I could have done simple, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go complicated. And we're not doing any of this. Okay, I need to define my seasons. So I have a summer, and that's going to start on, I thought, it was May 1st. So that's May 1st, and winter starts on November 1st. Okay, good. So I've got my seasons defined. Then this is where I add the charges. So drag this over. I was going to drag it over. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to add a consumption charge. That's for the kilowatt hours. So I'll call it kilowatt hour. Oh, this has got to be summer kilowatt hours. And this will be for summer. Okay, and I only have on peak, and my charge, there's no tiered. So my charges go here, and it is 0.28607. And I'm going to now add a winter one. So this will be winter kilowatt hours. That'll be for winter. And that one was 0.2291. Okay, the only thing I'm missing is I don't have my my daily charge, and that goes in this max min monthly. And in here I have daily charge. If I wanted to do it summer, winter, I had different charges. I could have, but I don't. It's the same all year. And it was 0.32854. Okay, and that's it. All right, then I can go back to the tree view. Now this is kind of important. I go to the meter. So this is a meter. It says PG&E one, but that's actually a meter. And I need to tell it that I'm not using average cost. So I go to rates and cost. And again, average cost is a default. And I'm going to say utility rate schedule. And I'm going to add a rate group, and it's A1. And that's that. So here's the sim actual. And so if you click on sim action, we'll see what it's calculated for you. Okay, so I have in here, let's just see how this compares to Metrix. If I did everything right, it should match. So we'll just look at total cost. 3,671,668. Yes, I got it. 329,593. Okay, they match. Okay, so that was the easy one. Let's go to the next one. Okay, this is E19. This is a time of use rate with some demand. And it's also got an interesting power factor, which probably only works at PG&E. I haven't found anyone else that does it this way. I want to explain a couple concepts really quick. Most of you, at least the old timers, know this stuff, but what is time of use? So utilities will charge different rates based on the time of day. And the point is, well, this is when this is peak, like from 1 to 6. This is when everyone's using electricity. Everybody wants it, so we might as well make it more expensive. Because it's just the way it works. Because they might have to go buy power from other utilities, and that's expensive, or they might have to start up the power plants that they don't want to run, but they have to meet the need, and those are more expensive to run, et cetera. There's reasons for it, so they're not being bad about it. It's just what they have to do. But that's what a time of use rate is different charges for different times of day. And this is what PG&E's used to look like. It's changed. PG&E now, I think peak is from 4 till 10 or 4 to 9:30. I think it's 4 to 10. That's because of solar. Now there's just too much solar during the afternoons, and yeah, it's just kind of changed quite a bit. Okay, yeah, summer is 5:1 to 10:31. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so a few things in here. So it says, so what PG&E does, that what happens if you have summer winter rates like we did on A1, and you have a bill that let's say summer starts on May 1st, but you have a bill that's May 15th. That means half the bills are in April, which is winter, and half the bills are in May, which is summer. What do? Well, what some utilities will do is they'll just say, we're just going to use, if the bill falls in May, it's a May bill, and we just apply May charges to the entire thing. That's the easiest way to go about it. Other ones will say, no, we'll prorate. Actually, I don't know if anyone says that. Maybe they do. And we're going to take so many days, you have 15 days here, 16 days there. So we'll take 15 31st of this bill, and we'll apply the winter charges, and 16 31st, and we'll apply the summer charges. That's another way. That's prorating. And what PG&E does is a way that's unlike either, which is we know how much you use every day. We know how much you used in summer and how much you use in winter, and we'll just apply the right rate to both. That's how PG&E handles it. And unfortunately, option C or Metrix does not do that, because we don't know how much energy you used in winter or summer. I mean, how much, if you had a bill straddling May 1st and half was in May and half was in April, we don't know how much was used in April and how much was used in May. We prorate. We just assume you use the same amount every day. If you did know this, which you could know if you looked at the bills, you could actually add 2 bills instead of 1. God, I'm really just going to a rabbit hole here. There's a way to handle this so you can exactly model it like PG&E. It's what I used to do when I worked at Johnson Controls. But let's move on. Maximum demand here. This one's easy. In PG&E, their demand is simple. They have a 15-minute average, a sliding average, and they just use the max. That's it. There is no billing demand. Billing demand is the same as maximum demand, so that's very easy. And they have this weird power factor adjustment where they're saying they're basing it on 85%. If your power factor is greater than 85, then they'll give you money, or they'll take money off your bill. And if it's less than 85, then they will charge you more money. And that's unusual. A lot of times it's usually just they'll charge you more. If it's better, then, well, good for us. Okay, so now we're going to go and model this rate. So let me try this. So first we'll do metrics. So this one is E19. So I'm going to go into E19 again. I go into meter setup and I say I'm going to use a single utility rate. I'm going to add a rate. Now this one is going to take a little longer because I got a lot of charges to deal with. In fact, I'm not even going to deal with customer charge. Oh, I'm not going to deal with customer charge yet. I'll deal with that later. These are the charges. So I'm going to need a separate charge item for summer and winter, and then for peak, off-peak, and part peak. So I'm going to need 5 of them here. And then I'm going to need charge item for, I'm going to need 5 for energy. And then for demand, I'm going to need 1 for part peak, winter and summer, so that's 2. 1 for max for peak, so that's 3. And then I have this max demand, which I will kind of wave my hands around a little bit later. Okay, so I think I need, I don't know. So I'll just do 1 and we'll just go from there. So we're going to start with, we'll do kilowatt hours. So we'll go peak summer, peak kilowatt hours. And so summer again was 5:1 to 10:31. And so it was consumption and it's on peak. Okay, I got that part. Now, I'll deal with the service charge later, so I'm not going to touch that, and we'll just deal with it. So this is 11,325, 0.11325. Now notice that I have this size as 0. That's the equivalent of saying for everything that's left, or in this case, for everything. Okay, because I've seen people model it where they just put in as many 9s as they could put in. That works too, but 0 is what the software was looking for. Okay, so that was one of them. So that was summer peak. Let's do summer part peak. So I'll just change that one to part peak, PT, and then we'll call this part peak. Same dates. And this charge was same. Okay, well, that was easy. And we have an off-peak summer. So I'll do that. I'll sort of drag that one up again. So this is off-peak. And off-peak. Okay, same dates. And this charge is different. 10727. 0.10. We got some problems here. 10727. Okay. I think that's good. All right, now we need to do winter. I have just part peak and off peak. I don't have a max. So I'll just start over, I guess. New charges. So this will be winter, part peak, kilowatt hours. And so this will be part. And this one's going to be 11:1 to 4:30. Okay. And that charge was 10468. 0.10468. Okay, and that's done. And then I will do winter off peak. Okay. There. And this one will be 10397. That's 10397. Okay. All right, got that part done. Now let's do demand. So I'll add a new one for demand. Assumption demand on. So for summer, we'll call it summer peak kilowatts. Okay, so it's demand peak. I need to put in summer. So there's my summer. And that one was going to be 1368. 13.68. Okay, now I have a part peak summer, so let's drag that up. And I'll just change that to part peak and parts. And part peak summer demand was 1114. Okay, and then I have a max demand. All right, what am I going to do about that? Well, let's do the max. So what I noticed, so here's a problem, a shortcoming in metrics. We don't have a way to do max demand. You can't apply charges to max demand. You can only apply it to peak, part peak, and off peak, whatever. But if you look at the bill register, I'm kind of weaseling my way out of this, but if you look, my on peak, wait a sec, I thought my on peak was always larger. Here, let's see, on peak, off peak, part peak. No, I have my off peak bigger. Oh, that's energy. I'm sorry. If we look at demand, you'll see that the peak is always bigger than off peak and part peak. I got lucky. I mean, really, off peak could be bigger. Weekend day is super hot. Oh, but the place is closed. So yeah, so peak is larger than the other ones. So I'm going to wave my hands and just say, you know what? I can't. I'm going to. I could make this summer. I could make new charges. I can make my max demand be the same as on peak. Okay. Now I think that you're not supposed to have two of these that are exactly, demanded on peak. You can have the combination be exactly the same. But it's kind of one of those features in metrics that was it was a bug that we never fixed because it was actually convenient. So we left it. So this could be a way you do it. And charge detail, and we'll type in peak max demand 25, 17. Okay, and then did I do part? Okay, now I got to do part peak winter. So part peak winter is free. So I'm not going to even type that in, but I do have a maximum demand winter, which is going to be the same as part peak. So I'm just going to add that in there, new charges. And that will be part peak. It's going to be max kilowatts. So that would be demand. And it's going to be part peak. And that's going to be winter. So it's 11:1 to 4:30. Make sure. Okay, so what was I doing? I was doing winter max kilowatts. So that's this one. Oh, it's also 2517. Okay, so I could have done this for all year. In fact, I think I will. So I'll delete this one. And I'm just going to make this max kilowatts for all year. Make that 1:1 to 12:30. Okay, that's it. So I've done everything, but the thing I've not done. Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. So let me change that back. I'm sorry. Now I'm starting to flail. So I can't do that because max kilowatts is peak in the summer and it is part peak in the winter. So that's why I can't do it. So I'll just drag this up and we'll change it. So this will be winter max kilowatts and this will be 11:1 to 4:30 and demand, and this was part peak. Okay, now it's done. Now the last thing is this customer chart. Oh, I have this power factor too. So this power factor, I can't do. I can't do it. And so Metrix just doesn't have a capacity to do it the way the PG&E does it. So what you can do is you can add a fuel adjustment, and we can call that the power factor correction. And what you're going to have to do is each time you make it for billing periods, and each time you get a bill, figure out make it static values. And then you can just type in what is the power factor correction. Well, this month it was $34, this month it was $23, et cetera. And you can just type it in with each bill. Okay? That's how you're going to have to do it. All right, the last thing though we have to deal with is, let me go back to that, and that is this customer charge. And so we have two of them here. So there's one that's per day, and then there's one that's with, if you have a smart meter. I think they're added together. I don't know, and I'm not going to find out. So I'm just going to assume that you add them together. So I'm going to use this 33.413. So if I put it in all of these, I think you know, have a place to put this daily service charge. But if I put it in all of them, it will count for all of them. For example, for summer, it'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. That's not what I want to do. I only want it to count once in summer and once in winter. So I'm just going to put it under the max kilowatts because that only occurs once in summer and once in winter. So that will be 33.41306. And I'll do the same for winter. 33.41306. Okay, so that's done. That was hard. Okay, so let's do it in option C. I hope it's easier. So what we're going to do is we go to the rate groups, and I'm going to add a new rate group. So new rate group, and this will be my PG&E E19. And that's going to be PG&E. Okay, and we'll add a rate. And this is going to be, it's effective all the time. And I'm going to call it E19. Okay, this will be a complicated rate. And the seasons, yes, we have 2 seasons once again. So it's May 1st through November and November 1st. Okay, good. Okay, that part's done. So now I'm going to add, let's do the customer charge since I'm here. So I can add my customer charge. It's the same all year. So I just have a daily charge and it's right here. So it's going to be $33.41306. Okay, that's my customer charge. All right, let's do the kilowatt hours. So that would be right there. Okay, so I'm going to need one for summer and one for winter. So summer kilowatt kilowatt hours, and I have for kilowatt hours, I got peak, off, and parts. So peak, off, and parts. And this is going to be just for summer. Okay, and it's not tiered, and I'm just going to type in my charges here. So peak is 0.1135. Off peak is 10727. 0.10727. And part peak is 0.11825. Okay, so I got that one done. Hey, this is going a little faster than the other one. So then let's try a winter one. So new consumption item, we'll call this one winter kilowatt hours. Kilowatt hours. And we will call that winter. And this one doesn't have peak, it just has part and off, I think. I don't think it has peak. So off peak is 10397. 10397. Part peak is winter 10468. 0.10468. All right. That part was easy. Let's try the demand. It's a new demand item. Okay, so this is going to be summer kilowatts. So we select summer. And so for summer, I just have peak and let me see what I got. Peak, part peak, and max. Now, what's kind of cool, or I like it, is we can do max here. We couldn't do it in metrics, but we can do it here. So let's start with max because it's farther to the left. And max is 25.17. 25.7. On peak is 1368. And part peak is 1114. Okay, that one's done. So now let's do one more. So new demand item. And this one is winter kilowatts. So I type in winter, and this has just, I think it's just off peak, is that right? Part peak and max. So just part peak, which is, I guess there is off peak, but yeah, so it won't give me, since this is kind of a feature I need to fix. So it won't give me max unless I pick more than one. So I'll keep off peak and then I can do max. Actually, I'm gonna keep on. Yeah, we don't actually technically have an off peak, on peak in PG&E during the winter. So I'll click on both. And for off peak, I'm just gonna say it's free. Okay, part peak is going to be, oh, it's also free. So they're both free. And then the max is going to be 2517. Okay, power factor adjustment. We got one more to go and we're done. So this is going a lot faster than it did with Metrix, that's for sure. Oh, power factor, that one. Okay, so what we're going to do here is this top line, this is the PG&E one. So 85% was their threshold. And then they had something that was, oh, there's 4 zeros here and a 5. So it's 0.1234. Okay, that's it. That will calculate the power factor charge. So now we go back to, to the tree view. So let's go to rates and costs. So that was using average. So we're going to use the utility rate. Which one? We're going to use E19. And now we look at sim actual. And, oh, okay. So do I have, yeah. So it's, there you go. So that's what we got. And I don't have power factor dollars in here, I realized, and that's because I didn't put it in detailed costs. So I got to put it in there. And then if I go to sim actual, it's the same in metrics, by the way, too. Then I'll see the power factor dollars in here. I put in really strange power factors, by the way. I started with 100 and went just down, just so everything would change. So here you can see that, you know, they gave you a credit initially, and then they started charging you money for power factor correction. Okay. All right. One of the things that's kind of cool, I guess we're not supposed to be talking about this, but you can, it calculates KVA and KVAR. I mean, I don't know if it matters, but it's kind of like a bell and whistle that no one really cares about, but it's a attractive bell and whistle. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Oh, good, we're doing good on time. Great. Okay, so this next one is hard. This one's hard, and we're going to go over some of these rate concepts. So let's see. This is, yeah, I've seen harder rates, but this one's hard. This is definitely classed among the hardest rates I've seen. And if you go to advanced class, we do this actually, or something like this. Okay. First off, what's a tiered rate? This is for absolute beginners. I'm okay with that. Some of you might be beginners. Some rates have tiers. The first two rates we saw don't have tiers, but some of them do have tiers, you know, and it's pretty obvious what this means, you know. It's like the first 100,000, it's more, and later on it's less. That's pretty simple. I think we all understand that. But some of them will do these tiers based on something called hours used or kilowatt hours per kilowatt. Now that's where it starts to get really hard. And I remember when I was really new to the industry and trying to figure this stuff out, it might have taken me an hour. And I think I might have figured it out, but I didn't really figure it out. I really figured it out maybe 10 years later, but because I knew I would probably have to think it through for another half hour to figure it out. But anyway, I'm going to explain how this works so you don't have to think like I did. So hours used is the same as kilowatt hours per kilowatts, and they both define the number of kilowatts in the tier size. That's the whole point, okay? But the point of this thing is they're able to charge you for a high demand without giving you a demand charge. I mean, they might have a high demand, they might have a demand charge also, but this also penalizes you because the lower tiers, you pay more, and the higher your demand, the longer you're going to be in this lower tier. That's the concept. Okay, so I'm gonna try to calculate this. So here are the tiers: 10 cents for the first 50, 9 cents for the next 50, 8 for everything else. And then here's my bill: 100 kilowatts, 100,000 kilowatt hours. So the way I do this is I multiply the kilowatts on the bill, my 100, times the tier size, which was 50, to determine the number of kilowatt hours in the bill. So 100 times 50, 5,000. Okay, and so that's my tier size. Okay, so for the first 5,000 kilowatt hours, it's 9 cents per kilowatt hour, etc. I think you can see that. I don't need to say anything. So the higher the kilowatts, the larger the first tier size is going to be. Okay. Now, what we're doing here is we're adding a threshold. Now, this is this Duke Power rate we're going to do. It's something like this. This is an old version of it, but it's pretty much the same rate. So we have this kilowatt hours per kilowatt. So as long as we're within this 125 kilowatt hours per kilowatt, this first set of tiers applies, okay? But as soon as we get above 125 kilowatt hours per kilowatt, then we move on to the next set of tiers, okay? And then once we get above that threshold, then we go to the last set of tiers, okay? That's how that works. And I think I got a little, yeah, those are my thresholds, those are my tier buffs, good. And I made a spreadsheet to kind of explain it. Let's see if it works. So it says for the first 125 kilowatt hours per kilowatt. So what I did was I multiplied 125 by 1285. That's right there. And I end up with this number. That's my threshold. So tier one said for the first 3,000. So that was tier one. Tier two is 87,000. And tier three is everything else up to that threshold, which happened to be that much. Okay, so that's how it works. Once we get the threshold, then we move to the second one. Okay, and so I multiplied 275 by 125, and I end up with this number. That's the new threshold. Okay, and I think you can take it. Okay, now they've got ratchets on this thing. So what they're saying is, this isn't actually from that rate, this is just a general definition of ratchet, but so they're saying we're taking the max measured, that would be measured kilowatt demand for the month, but not less than the highest measured kilowatt demand from the preceding 11 months. Okay, so they're looking at the kilowatts from several months, your last 11 months. That's basically what it says. Also, there's a minimum charge or minimum demand of 300 kilowatts. Okay, so this is what it might look like. Let's pretend the meter just opened up in January. They just started, so they would have no ratchet because they keep using more and more. But then when they start using less and less, so that would be the red, they're using less and less because there's no cooling, but they still have to pay demand. That's because it's 85% of the highest billed kilowatts, which was this one. So 85% of that is this. So they're going to have to pay that for the next 11 months. Okay, so we have that in here too. Also, they've got all these riders. If you're new, you might not really know what riders are. Riders are just little additional costs they throw on there. For this Duke Energy, this is from the rate. They had a whole bunch of riders, and they all add up to that. Okay. So I'm just going to model them all together. Duke's billing demand is, well, you know what? Rather than talk about this, we're just going to start doing this stuff. So we'll start with Metrix, and it's the third rate. And so I go to meter setup, and I want single utility cost, or single utility rate. And for the rider, you know what I think I'm going to do for the rider is I'm just going to add a fuel adjustment. So I'm just going to add fuel adjustment. I'll call that my rider. That's how I think I'll do it. So let's call this riders. This is combination all riders. And you could put it in as billing periods, years. I don't know when they change their rates or whatever. I'm going to put it in as monthly, but it could be whatever you want. And I'm going to do it as dollars per kWh, and it was negative 0.100. And that's kind of what it is. So copy, paste, and yeah, that's just going to do. And then eventually those riders are going to change, and then they will go up or down. Okay, so that's the rider part. That was easy. Okay, so their bill demand, let me see, we got bill demands, rates. Here's their rate, and we'll go back to their bill demands later. So I'm going to add a rate, and let me call this Duke, South Carolina, SGS. Okay, and there's just one demand charge in here and one energy charge. There's no on-peak, off-peak, hard peak, and there's no summer, winter. So this makes it easier. I just have one of each. So this is going to be kilowatt hours. Okay, and it's all year. And then in here, though, oh, it's going to get hard. So let's do this. First, let's do the facilities charge. It's $10.29 per month. $10.29. Okay, and then the tiers. So I'm just going to start typing them in. It's 11.116677, and this is 0.066191, 0.055848, 0.66917, 0.66280. 0.59808 and 0.053948. Gosh, that's hard. Okay, and then the sizes, I'll put those in. So this is going to be 3,000, not 300, 3,000. This one will be 87,000. This next one's for everything else. So 0. This one is at 6,000. This one is at 134,000. Right, and then that's for everything else, and this one's for everything else. And so the first tier starts on tier 1. So it starts at tier 1, and there is a threshold. Shoot, I have to say there's a second tier. So second tier starts on tier 4. And so there is a threshold, and the threshold is 125. Not that 125, that 125. The second one, oh, and there's a third tier which starts on tier 7. And so this one is going to be in, should be 275. And then that's it. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about this, how it all works and all, because I'm running short on time. So I'm going to move on to demand. New charges, this is kilowatts. Okay, it's all year and it's demand, not consumption. detail. This is easy. It's free for the first 30. So there's 30 and the charge is 0. And then everything thereafter is 3.399 for everything thereafter. Okay, so I got the demand charges. I got all these charges in already, but what I don't have is the ratchet. So let me see if I can find that damn thing. There it is. So it's going to use the MAC. Okay, so it's the current 100% of the current month. Okay, that's this one. It's going to use 50% of the demand from June through September, the last June through September. So this is 50%. It's a little bit of a different ratchet than what we saw. So June, I think 6, and September, I believe, is 9. So 50% of the maximum demand during the billing months of June, September. Yes, and 50% of contract demand. So we'll put in this 50% of contract demand. I'll show you where to put in contract demand in a minute, or 30 kilowatts. Minimum demand is 30 kilowatts. Okay. There it is. Let me add in the contract demand. We're done. So in the rate detail is where contract demand goes. I have no clue what it should be, so I'll just type in some number, and there we go. Okay. I made it through Duke. Oh, no, I have the power factor. Okay, so for the power factor charge, that's going to go actually here. And the power factor threshold was 85%. See that 85 right there? So I type in 85, and this will now calculate the power factor charges, assuming that I had power factor in my bill register, which I know I do. So I have power factor here. So if I put in, I don't get to see the detailed cost. That's too bad. But sim actual. I still don't get to see it. Okay, that's it. So let's try it now in option C. You know, when I'm done with this, I'm going to be so exhausted. This is pretty tough. Okay, so let's. This is like doing a sprint. I'm going to go to rate groups. And I'm going to add a new rate group, and this one is Duke SGS, Duke SGS, electricity, Duke, and add South Carolina SGS. That's going to be complicated. Okay, and there are no seasons. Good, that's all good. And then add all the time, add a consumption. So let's see if we can go back to this. Consumption, there we go. Okay, this one is going to be a little more complicated. Are there tiered charges? Yes. And so this is going to be, this is kind of just like the other one. So this is size unit. That's supposed to be, oh gosh, you know what? I wonder if we screw this up. We'll see what happens. Okay. So are there tiered? There are tiers. Are there thresholds? Yes. Okay, there, that's working. Are there, which TOU period of demand to use? We only have one, so we're okay. And yeah, so one of the questions people ask is, well, which kilowatts should we use when we're looking at tier sizes, metered or billed? I don't know, actually. I didn't look in the Duke Energy rate to find that out. So we'll assume it's metered. Okay, so I'm going to type in my charges here. So this one was 0.11677. The size was 3,000. Okay, this is still group 1. And then this one is 0.066191. And this size is 87,000. Still group 1. This is 0.0558848. And this is for everything else. Group 2, and then, oh yeah, okay, so I have group 1's kilowatt hour tiers reply until a threshold of, and then threshold is 125. So what I tried to do is I tried to make this more obvious. Metrix was a little cryptic, and I think this is a little less cryptic, but you know, you're still gonna have to learn how to use it, I guess. So now I can make group 2 work. So that'll be group 2, and this is going to be group 2, 660.066917, and that size was 6,000. So this is 6,000. And then that's still group 2, and this is 0.066280, and that size is 134,000. And then this is still group 2, and this charge is 0.059808, and it's for everything else. See, it says all remaining. That's what that 0 tells it. Okay, and then I got, so that's, now I got to do group 3. So this is applies till the next 275, so until a threshold of 275. And then group 3 is next, and that will be, the chart there is group 3, sorry, I thought I turned all that stuff off, 0.053948, and that's for all. Okay, so I made it through that part. Now let's do demand. So I'm going to add a demand item. Okay, so it's called kilowatts. All year, yes. And I just have on peak, yes. Okay, so I'm going to say it is free for the first, I think it was 30, that's right. And then it is $3.39 for everything else. Okay, so we got the costs, and then the build demand. Build demand is, okay, so we're doing this, right. Are there ratchets? Yes, there's demand ratchets. There is a contract demand. Okay, so demand is built. No, we don't have that. It's the maximum minimum demand, and that was, where is it? It was 30 kilowatts. So minimum demand is 30 kilowatts. Or 50% of contract demand, or 100% of current month's demand, and then there was a ratchet, which was 50% from June to, so it'd be 6/1 to 9/30 to 9/30. Okay, so I made it through that. I need to put in my contract demand still, and I still have to deal with my riders. I think I have a custom. I didn't do the customer charge. So let me do that too. So add new, yeah. So this is my monthly charge, and that was, what was it? 1029, 1029. Okay, and then I have a contract demands. So I think that's under rate options. No, where is it? Somewhere. Oh no, now I'm in blows. I don't. Oh, I know where it is. It's in the meter. Okay, so the contract demand we put in the meter because the contract demand is associated with the meter. Each meter has its own contract demand, not the rate. So that's why it's in there. And in fact, I'll go find it right now. So go to the tree view and find that meter. Okay, meter details. Is it here? No. Rates and costs. No, well, we're going to tell us anyway, use the rate schedule. Let's see, add, maybe it'll show up. I'm searching for it. I don't remember where it was. There it is, contract demand. So here you type in whatever your contract demand is. So it makes a number up. That's my contract demand. Okay, so let's see what else. I got that, and I did not do power factor. So let's do power factor and we'll be all done. So let's do 2 rate groups. And we're going to add, good, I'm going to make it. So need power factor. So this one was if the, it's always, power factor is going to be, so this is the one, the 85% one that we just saw. So it's 85% over whatever the power factor is, and it's only a penalty, there's not a credit. Okay, so that is now done. So I can click on this tree view. And if I go, let's look at the meter again. I think I already selected, yeah, I did that. Good. If I go to sim actual, it will show. So there's no power factor charge Now, there could be two reasons. One is because I didn't put in detailed costs, but I don't think it's going to show up anyway because this one didn't have a power factor charge. It just said we're going to change the build demand by a certain amount based on the power factor. Okay, the build demand's really high. It must be because it's my whatever it was, the contracting was so damn high. Okay. So there you go. I did it. I can't believe I did it. Okay, Tyler, is there anything else? Thanks for coming, everybody. I appreciate it.
See you guys on next part.